relationship, lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here. Once you leave the clouds, you're under. Ain't it funny how there ain't no rain or clean? Why'd it take so long to leave you in the rearview mirror? Now nobody gonna steal my sunshine or turn my blue sky gray. All I know is at the end of the day, wildflowers grow when there ain't no shade.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Conversations with Pearl. And today is a very unique session because it's just me today. And I just wanted to come on and just check in with you, see how you're doing, and just make sure that you truly are looking and finding your inner pearl of greatness. And so today's episode is just going to be about some lessons for you around how you become your Shiro self. Like really, how do you find that time for you that you can put yourself first without any guilt? And so I want to talk to you about that because, oftentimes we as women, we take care of everything else before we put something for ourselves on the time, on our planner. And so I want to talk to you about that. Why? Like, when was the last time you really challenged yourself to step away? Because you are a Shiro, you are powerful, and you are amazing. And sometimes we feel so overwhelmed that we don't feel that way, right? That we feel like, we're not working in our purpose of our power and our passion. And, we're not getting ourselves that time to pause and reflect and really create and develop our roadmap for our expectations, for our journey that we want for ourselves. So I want to ask you this. I want you to consider this. I want you to think about, is there been a time where you wanted to take time for yourself and you just said, I'll put it on my calendar. And then when it came time for your calendar, you said, oh, I can't do it. I got to get the kids to practice. I've got to go to this event. My husband needs help with this thing at work, or I'm tied to my job and we've got this deadline to meet. I want you to really think that, there is a woman who is a hero for everybody else freely. Like we pour into others so much, so freely that truly our identity and our focus becomes that for the other person. And we're putting our focus and our identity on a shelf, right? We freely accept it, that despite how we might feel in the moment, that it's okay to put ourselves on the shelf. So I want to give you some thoughts and some steps about really, showing up for yourself and saying yes to yourself and not trying to please others, right? Because so often we are that person. We become that people pleaser. We say yes to everybody else so excitedly now, but you don't say yes to yourself as excitedly. Like you feel guilty, right? Do you ever feel guilty when you say no to somebody because you're like, oh, they're not going to like me. They're going to think that I don't care for them. They're going to think that I'm selfish, all those things, right? And, because we show up for others so much and not for ourselves often, it can feel like we're not worthy, right? And I wonder if that sounds like you. If that sounds like you, I want to give you a couple steps to just put yourself first without guilt. Okay. So the first one is, as women, we feel guilty when we do for ourselves, right? We feel guilty if we go get our nails done, or we feel guilty if we go out for a walk, or we go out for dinner with a friend, or maybe like me, you go for a staycation where you grab a hotel that's near the house. Like for me, I live in Florida, so I'll grab a hotel at the beach and go spend the night. So maybe you feel guilty that you're doing that because you feel like, oh, I got to leave the kids behind, or the spouse, or they're going to think I'm being selfish because I'm doing for me. So I want to tell you, first of all, there's some things you can do to overcome that. So let's say you are a CEO mom. And so those that are listening to me the first time, when I say CEO mom, I don't like the word stay-at-home mom, because you are a CEO mom, because even if you are at home running the house business, which is why I call you a CEO mom, you have a job to do. And that's making sure the business of the home is running the way it needs to. So let's say you're that CEO mom and you have kids that, you want to spend time with, but you feel like there's not enough time in the day. So let's start with they're little. If they're little kids, like, under say 8 years old, right? Maybe you sit down and watch a silly TV show. When my kids were little, it was Barney, right? Sit down and watch a silly TV show with them and just be engaged with them, because you're going to laugh at the crazy show. You're going to spend time with your little one, but you're also going to be taking some time out for yourself. So that's one of the steps you can do with your children. If your kids are a little older, like, so when I finally realized that I mattered and I had to do something for me first, my kids were a little older. So my oldest one, he loved to go get his toenails done because he played football and he had football toes. So we would go for mani-pedi together. He'd get the pedi, I get the mani-pedi. And it was giving myself time to take care of myself and have self-care. But at the same time, my son Matthew was spending time with me, and we would chit chat and talk about what was happening. We might talk about the football game upcoming or the one that just passed. We might talk about girls, whatever that is, right? Him and I also had a code word for spending time together, and that was, let's go for sushi. So that would tell me that he wanted to have conversations with me, right? So my younger son, Nate, he's not into mani-pedis. He could not be bothered with any of that, but he loves to go to the movies. So we would go and catch a movie together. And we still do that to this day. He'll be like, what new movie is coming out? What do you want to see, Mom? And we'd go catch that movie together. So that's something you can do with your kids. Like, find something that you can enjoy doing that they maybe would like to do with you, and you're spending time with them. Okay. Now, when it comes to your spouse or significant other, it's kind of the same thing. Maybe catch a movie at home. Like my husband and I, even today, we find a lot of stuff on Netflix and we'll sit down and we'll watch the movie on Netflix, right? Or maybe you coordinate once a month, you're going to go out on a date and take turns picking. He picks this month, you pick next month. Neither one of you can complain about what the other picked, but you've picked something to go do. Okay. So those are some things you can do with your loved ones when it comes time for self-care and not feeling guilty, right? So then that way, when you do want to go do something for yourself, like a staycation or go to the movies by yourself, that guilt, you can release that guilt because you are finding time to spend with them as well. Okay. So those are just some simple steps you can do when it comes to your family. But let's talk about your job, okay, your professional career. So let's say that you're at work and you've got this big project to get done and you're in charge of a team, okay? So one of the things I used to do is I wanted to make sure that my team all had a responsibility of the project that we were doing. So when I worked for a big corporation, each person had a piece of that pie, because you can't run the whole machine together. You've got to have help. So find what works, what their talents are, and give them that piece of the pie that will outshine their talents. Okay. And then make sure that you, along with them, are taking breaks out to collaborate, whether it's, hey, let's go grab some lunch together and collaborate. Or maybe you go outside the building and go for a quick walk around the building. I did this at the big corporation I worked with. I would send my team out to go for walk breaks. And my other team leads from other departments like, how can you do that? Why are you doing that? And I'm like, listen, if you look at my department's goals, we're hitting our goals, which means they're working hard. I need them to be all in, not be tired. So I would also go each day with one different group, and I'd go for a walk with them and just chat with them. How are they doing? What's going on? What's happening in their world? We wouldn't talk about what's happening in the project, just how are they doing? So that's another way that you can, at your professional level, do something for yourself while you're engaging with your team as well. Okay. And if you are an entrepreneur, let's say you own your own business and you're overwhelmed with all these things to get done, I'm going to challenge you to look and see what are some of the things you're doing in your business that you actually might be able to benefit from having a virtual assistant, right? So my business coach, Julie DeLuca Collins, helped me understand what my value is per hour. So once you take that per hour value and you say, filing paperwork is not worth $300 an hour. So maybe you have a virtual assistant that helps you electronically file your stuff. Find somebody that can do those things that takes up time for you building your business. And then also make sure you are taking time out during the day to go for a walk, do meditation, something that helps you pour into yourself while you're pouring into your business. So those are some tips I want to just teach you and share with you that I know I do for my self-care, so I don't feel overwhelmed. So I don't feel like I'm on the shelf, because when you put yourself on the shelf, you can't become that hero of your life. You can't become that self-made hero and have balance in your life with boundaries that you set and how to incorporate them without guilt. So I just want to share some of that with you because, you guys are amazing, amazing individuals. You're beautifully and wonderfully made, and you deserve everything that's waiting for you. But when we don't open our eyes to what's around us, we don't allow ourselves time for ourselves, you can't pour into others, you can't pour into your career if you don't pour into yourself first. So I just want to share that with you. And I want to invite you, if any of this resonates with you, I would love to invite you to we have a Shiro League. You can come once every Sunday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come and just visit with us, we always have an open house opportunity. You can join us. It's at a Sunday evening, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can come in your PJs. It's a great way to end your week and start your new week. You can do that as well. So if you want that information, just go to pearl@wsliving.com. Again, pearl@wsliving.com, and email me and I can get you the link to join us. But if you want to look at some more of these steps that I've done, I would love for you to just go download my ultimate guide to self-care, and some additional steps are in there. And that's at pearlsebook.com. That's pearlsebook.com. And I hope you guys know that you come into this world as this beautiful, beautiful oyster. We're a little rough on the outside, but on the inside, you have this amazing pearl. And I just want you to know that you are this amazing pearl, and I hope you find your inner pearl of greatness. Have a great day.